30-something.
The labour and birth, here it is. Here we go. Writing out a birthday plan. Now this is a book that is a pregnancy journal, and the questions are so geared to a hospital birth, it's ridiculous. So it says, who do you want to be present at the birth? And this was before I'd met you, so at this point I put Tony and a friend of mine who's a doula and a midwife. Do you want music played?
In the end you changed
in the end I crossed her out once I'd seen you and thought, no, we can do this on our own. Do you want music played while you're in labour? I put yes. Do you want to burn aromatherapy oils? 1 candle. That's how accurate I am about what I want. Do you want your partner present at all times? Yes, I think so. Do you mind having medical students present at the birth? I mean, yes, I do mind. How do you feel about being induced should you go past your due date? Go away. Do you want the medical team to offer you pain relief, or would you rather they waited for you to ask for it, wait to be asked? What is your preferred method of pain relief? Meditation. I put gas and air is okay, but again, that changed later. Are there any types of pain relief you'd like to avoid? Pretty much any drugs. And at this stage, I didn't know enough about it, but when we went to our NCT course, which we did as well, they told us of all the different drugs that you can get. And at that point, I really knew that I didn't want any. Would you like your labour partner to be present if you have a caesarean? Definitely. What position would you want to give birth in, on all fours or squatting? Do you want to be as active as possible during labour? Yes, no, depends how I feel. Would you prefer to have an episiotomy? No. Or wait to see if you tear naturally? I won't, though. Do you want to see... And this is before I'd met you. This is how sure I was. This thing didn't have to happen.
That something like that's going to happen.
Do you want to see your baby's head being delivered? Yes. Do you want your baby delivered straight to your abdomen? Naturally. Who do you want to cut the umbilical cord? Tony. Do you want the midwife to help you breastfeed? If I need help only. Would you and your partner like to be left alone with your baby? Yes. Do you want to deliver the placenta naturally or speed up the process with centimethrin? Definitely not. All being well, how soon would you like to go home? I should already be there. So that was my birthing plan. And then it was hypnobirthing, water birth, with Tony as my birth partner, and that's what I had. So that was my birthing plan before I'd met you, and I'd said this is what I want. And then my brother is a doctor, bless him, and he's seen a lot of births, and obviously they've all been in hospital. And none of them have been hypnobirths, and none of them have been particularly positive experiences. So he said to me, don't have a baby at home. First of all, it's really messy, which Tony would agree with, I think, because he had to clear out the water pool. And I don't think that was the nicest job. But I didn't mind, I didn't see any of it. And then he said, you know, all these things. He started listing all these things that could go wrong. And I just firmly said to him, I can't have this conversation with you. In fact, I can't talk to you about this at all. And then he said to me, well, you can write a birthing plan, but it won't happen like that. And I said, you believe it won't happen like that, but I know it will. So I can't talk to you about this. And then I didn't talk to him about the birthing at all. And in fact, at one point I said to him, I'm just going to go now, put the phone down.
It's a thing.
Because I didn't want anyone getting in, because it's so vicious. They can just get into your brain and start off a worry, and it's like a little vibration that then gets bigger. And I didn't want that. So I kind of banned. And people telling me their birthing stories, the minute they got negative, I would just say, sorry, I'm just going to go out of the room, or I don't want to hear that, thank you. And
so
once I've had my baby, you can tell me your stories as much as you like, but I don't want to know. And then when I did have Connie, all the mothers that had told me their negative stories, or tried to tell me their negative stories, came back to hear the positive story and just were amazed and said, my goodness, can't believe it. Which is lovely of them to listen to a positive story as well. I thought that was very lovely.
And would make a difference to them.
Well, I hope if they have a second that they realise there's another way. Although, what people tend to do is say that's because you're like the way you are. And I think, or somebody said to Tony, you were very lucky. And Tony said, no, Jess worked really hard. And I said, well, actually, we worked really hard. So we did 6 months of doing and we did it nightly. I was absolutely... I just wanted this birth, and I thought if I have to practice, I will practice. Yes. And that sort of person. So we practiced every night, the breathing. I made Tony read out all the things so he knew exactly what he was going to do and what the breaths were. And actually it was really good we did that, because when we started, I know it's only counting in 4 and counting out 8, but actually to get it timed with somebody is actually quite hard to be able to... So we practiced him watching my breathing and saying it as he saw it happen, which is really helpful. Whereas if someone's saying where you're not, that's actually really unhelpful. So we did practice quite a lot of that. And I did my perineal massage for 8 weeks beforehand because I did not want to tear, and I thought, right, I'm not going to. So I did that. I had an egg timer, 5 minutes a day.
We're organised.
And I didn't have a tear, so that was good. And yes, she is little, but I'm little. I think some people also say, well, you had an easy birth because you had a little baby, but I'm little, so we're in proportion.
Yes.
So I don't think that's true at all.
And tell me about the dinner party that you were talking about.
Oh, there was a dinner party where someone was invited and they wanted to tell me their negative birthing story, and I had a bit of a sense of haemophilia, and then just said, look, stop. And she thought I was joking. I said, no, I'm not joking. I'm actually now going to leave the room, do the washing up, and I'll come back when you've stopped telling me. Because the husband was joining in with the whole, oh yes, and then this, I don't want to know. So yes, I was quite rude, in fact, to get my praise, wasn't I?
That's not rude. It's just self-preservation.
He's coming up. Come here.
So what was your experience of the course?
Of your course
Yes.
I think Tony was quite scared when we went.
Yes.
I think I pushed him into it a bit. But I think when we left, I think we were so pleased that we'd done it, and I think it was worth every penny, I have to say, because it may only have been a short course, but I think I needed to hear the things that you said, and I think the way you said it was so positive. And even just general attitude to looking. I remember you said one thing, just flip a coin, you can always look at things another way. Where are your raisins? Where are your raisins? That's a good girl. You said you can flip a coin and look at things the other way. You know, if it's raining, you can say, oh, it's dreadful rain. Or you can say, oh, what lovely rain, how nice for the garden. Or something like that. And there's always a way of flipping things. And I thought that was just a really nice life skill as well, not just for birthing. So I got so much out of that course. But I can tell you what we thought, because we wrote it down. What I thought and what he thought. And it was week 25.
Because you did the 2 days and a week in between to absorb
2 days and a week in between, and I think that was great. And I read the book, which I loved the pictures of the uterus. I found that brilliant, and how it all worked. And it says here, we went to our first hypnobirthing session on Sunday, really interesting. Feeling as if I'll be able to have the birth I've always believed to be possible. Saw videos of women looking extremely calm, went to the midwife and had latest checks, all well and happy. And Tony said it was noticeable how much more confident and happy you were after the hypnobirthing, and gave him more clarity about why it's also possible. It feels like a smart thing to do. That's a bit like that. That's great.
The course, which was 1 day, 1 weekend, and a week in between,
And then
another day the next weekend, didn't you?
yes, we did.
Yes.
And I think that worked really well. Being a day was brilliant, because being pregnant, by the evening I was nauseous, feeling sick and quite windy. I don't think I'd want to be in a room with anyone else at that point. And tired. So I don't know that I would have taken on board anything by an evening, particularly not 4 in a row. I mean, my goodness, that would have probably killed me. So, because we had to drive into London
Yes, it would
each
have been
time.
probably a week apart if we'd done it.
But then getting 4 weeks where we've got 4 evenings, given that my husband plays cricket and works in London, you know, I think that's quite a challenge to do in most people's lives. So I think the 2 Sundays that we did was really good.